The first thing I wanted to say is that changing your name is a very personal decision. So I'm not going to get into the politics of it all here tonight. Um, so I'm just really going to focus on if you've decided that you are going to change your name, then this is everything that you need to know. Oh dear. I'm getting a frog in my throat. Ah, okay, one more gulp. Not much I can do on a Facebook Live. I can't take two. So now, yeah, as I was saying, the first thing you need, every man and every woman needs to do is decide if they're going to change their name. And yes, you heard me right, men can change their name too. Last week, I had a meeting with a couple and I was delighted actually when the man said that he was going to take her surname. So yes, it's a decision that everybody has to make. Now, I'm not going to lie. It is a bit of a chore. Actually, it's more than a bit of a chore. It's a huge chore when you decide to change your name. It's a little bit like moving house, only a lot worse. So prepare yourself. It's not going to be easy. It's not as simple as waving a magic wand and having it done on one form. No, you have to do all the work. And it's quite a process. So I like to think of it as the next project that you can do after your wedding is over. So think of it like that. Now, so the first thing you need to do is decide what your new name is going to be. So I'm going to use myself as an example, but there's actually 6 options. So most people go for option 1, which is simply that you take on your partner's name. So in my case, I'm Julie Muir because my husband is Cameron Muir. And when I married him, I took his name. So that's what most people do. But I want to tell you about all the options. So the next option, which is getting a little bit more popular, is to hyphenate your last name. So using me as an example, I would be Julie Cotter Muir because Cotter was my maiden name. And then similar to that, you can also double barrel your name. So it's still Julie Cotter Muir, but this time it's without the hyphen. So it just depends how you want to write it. Now, the next 3 options are a little bit rarer, but still possible. So some people say that they really like their maiden name or their before married name, if it's a man, and they really want to keep that somewhere in their name. So in my case, it would be making the name Cotter my middle name. So I'd be Julie Cotter Muir, but with Cotter as my middle name. Unusual, but possible. The 5th thing that you can do is make a mashup of your 2 names, your 2 surnames. So I've got Cotter and Muir, which really doesn't give me many great options. You've got Couture or Muter. Neither of those are really going to work for me. So, but maybe your name lends itself better to a mashup. And the last thing you can do is make up a completely new name. So my husband's nickname is Farney, and he suggested, not jokingly, that we make our new surname as Farnsworth. And yeah, I mean, I did consider it for about 5 minutes, but then we decided not to. But it is an option for some people. Just bear in mind, you might be upsetting your own parents, as it'll be quite difficult to trace the family tree when you create a whole new name, but something to consider. So the next thing you need to do, you've decided what name you want to do, and now you need to apply for the correct certificate. So there's 2 different certificates, and you have to decide which is going to be the correct one for you. So if you're one of the first 3 that I mentioned, so if you're taking your partner's surname, if you're hyphenating your surname with your partner's name, or if you're making a double barrel, that's simple. And all you need is an official marriage certificate from births, deaths, and marriages. If you're going for one of the more complicated options that I mentioned, like a mashup or making a new name or making your maiden name your middle name, that's something different. And what you're going to have to do there is an official name change cert. So now that you know which one that you need, the next thing that you need to do is apply for it. Yes, of course. But I want to talk a little bit about the official marriage certificate first, because this can be a bit confusing. When you get married, your celebrant, you and your witnesses will sign a little certificate, and your celebrant will give it to you to keep. Now, this is a legal document, but it's not the final certificate. You still need to apply for that from Birth, Sets and Marriages. So don't confuse that certificate that you get on the day as the certificate that you need when you want to change your name, okay? Now, so there are 3 ways in New South Wales that you can order your official marriage certificate, which is what most people use to change their name. So the first way is you can go into a New South Wales service centre. So if you're from Newcastle, there's one in Parry Street. And if you're from Sydney or somewhere else, I'm sure you know them. They're the old RTAs. So you can go in there, you fill out a 2-page form. They match it up with the records of the celebrant who's already sent it in, and then they will post you your certificate. And it can take anywhere from kind of 2 weeks to 8 weeks, depending on how busy Birth, Sets and Marriages is at the time. Just as a side note, has anyone noticed how good the customer service is at the New South Wales Service Centre? They are quite unlike any other government department I've ever been to. Customer service is really amazing, so they deserve a shout out for what they're doing in there. If you want to avoid the queues, although they do move very quickly, if you want to avoid the queues, you can also apply for your marriage certificate online through your MyGov account. So it's the same form, but through your account, you can apply to Birth, Sets and Marriages through New South Wales Centre. And the third way that you can apply in New South Wales, you can't do this in all the states, but you can do it in New South Wales. You can apply for your marriage certificate through your celebrant. And this is where the smart money is, really. Of course, you need to check if that is something that your celebrant offers. It is something I offer to my couples, but not all celebrants do. So just check if it's an option for you. And really, if you can, you should do it that way, because it's just one less thing for you to do after the wedding, and you're going to save yourself a lot of hassle. So, but bear in mind, this probably won't be included in the celebrant's fee. So whatever the cost is, you'll need to pay the celebrant so that they can order for you on your behalf. Now, the next thing you need to do is decide which type of marriage certificate you want. So you've got your standard one, that's $58, which is what most people get. It looks very similar to a birth cert. And then you've also got a choice of about 20 other commemorative ones, they're called, so the pretty ones. So it's worth going online to have a look at the 20 to see if you like any of the designs. Look, they're not for everybody. Most people just need the standard one, but some people decide they might want to frame it, in which case you might like one of the prettier ones. But don't forget, you still get the certificate on the day that you've signed on your wedding day as well. So you may want to frame that one, and you may not need one of the 20. So what else now? So what I would say is, yeah, I think we're ready to move on to the next step. So you've chosen what certificate you want, and yeah, you've asked your celebrant to apply for it, or you've applied for it yourself. So now you can start thinking about all the places where you need to change your name. So there's a few places that you can change it without the certificate. So you can do these while you're waiting for it to arrive in the post. And then I'll tell you about all the places you need to change it where you actually need the physical certificate in your hand in order to change it. So the first place you can change it, of course, is Facebook. You can do that any day you want. So if you want to do it on your wedding day, go for it. If you want to do it in the ceremony, that's totally fine too. Just let me know, we can arrange that. The next place you need to change is probably think about whether or not you're going to set yourself up with a new personal email address. Like most people, you've probably used your name, so you probably need to set that up. And you can do that in advance. You can be organized if you want. And you probably should also tell your work that you're getting married. I have no doubt that they'll probably know, because someone's probably already caught you printing your table plan at the printer, or I'm sure they've looked over at your desk and you've been on Pinterest. But it is a good idea before your wedding to tell your company that you're getting married, so that they can change your email address, and you might need new business cards and your stationery, anything like that. So good to let them know. Now, the rest of the items on this list, you basically need the marriage cert that's going to come in the post in your hands, and then you just have to make yourself a list, or I can give you a list if you want one, and you just need to go to all these places and start changing it. But it is important to kind of prioritize the order in which you do it. So I've tried to make it as easy as I can for you. These are my recommendations. Start with your driver's license. So go to your New South Wales Service Centre with your marriage cert in your hands and your old license, and then they will reprint your driver's license for you. Now, I'm pretty sure if you do that within 1 year of getting married, they will actually reprint it for you for free, which is great, but you will keep the same expiry date. The next thing you need to do is probably go to your bank. So you can go there with your new driver's license that you were easily able to get, and with your marriage cert, and then you're going to have no problem changing your bank accounts. The next thing to think about maybe is Medicare, because I think most of the medical practitioners prefer it if you've actually changed your details with Medicare first, and then you can change it with your doctor. And this one is so important. Your passport, of course, but be very, very careful. If you book a flight, you must make sure that you have the same name on your passport at that time. So if you're going on a honeymoon, it could be immediately after your wedding or a few months after your wedding, or just going on any holiday anywhere, make sure you book that flight in the same name as the passport that you have. So if there's any doubt in your mind about the time frame of getting the new marriage cert and applying for a new passport, because the passport office will have their own delays, their own wait times, processing times. If there's any doubt in your mind about whether or not you've enough time to get it, just wait, book it in your maiden name or your before married name, and when you come back from your honeymoon, maybe then think about changing your passport. A bit like the driver's license, it's really similar to the passport office. As far as I know, they will reprint your passport at no cost in your new married name, so long as you do it within 1 year of your wedding. Okay. So once you've done those first few items, I want you to take a deep breath and pat yourself on the back, maybe pour yourself a glass of wine if you're a drinker, because you're doing well. But you still have about a bazillion other places to change it. So I recommend that you probably do it in stages. So I'm just going to quickly run through all these other items where you might not have thought of it, but you need to change it. Don't worry if you don't have a pen and paper. This recording will be available, or I can also just send you a checklist if you just ask me, no problem. So here we go. I've divided them into the following categories: house and car, children, pets, health, and everything else. So here we go. Your house and car. You need to let your electricity provider, gas provider, and water provider know. Also think about your internet, pay TV if you're lucky enough to have it. If you have a mortgage, you're probably going to have to let your mortgage provider know. Home insurance, if you have it, and the council if you pay rates as a property owner. If you're a tenant, you probably should let your landlord or your real estate know. And then think about things for your car, like road toll accounts. If you're like me, up and down to Sydney, we have an account, and also roadside assist if you have it. I don't have any children, but I'm guessing that you probably need to tell your children's schools and their childcare provider. If you have any pets, think about if your pet is registered with the council, like a dog registration, your pet might be microchipped, and maybe you want to let your vet know as well. The next category is health. You should let your doctor know, your dentist, any other health professionals or specialists that you deal with. Life insurance, health insurance if you're lucky enough to have it, gym membership, sports clubs, the blood bank. So I'll just say everyone should be donating. And also I think it's disgraceful that gay men can't donate. That's the end of my political message. And if you're a woman, the cervical screening register might be something that you want to update. And everything else I've just thrown into the others list. So here we go. Centrelink, the ATO, superannuation, your accountant, your employer, which I've mentioned before, if you have investments or shares, your ABN number, your business name registration, any professional associations that you're part of. For example, I'm part of the Australian Federation of Civil Celebrants, any social clubs, the library if you take out books. You might want to update your working with children's check, your will, if you have one, you could see your solicitor, any store accounts. I love my Myers card. Your mobile provider, you might want to think about changing your voicemail. If you have a Spotify or an iTunes account, your electoral enrollment. This is not an issue for me yet. I am waiting patiently for my citizenship any day now, fingers crossed. And any magazine subscriptions. So I don't know about you, but I am absolutely exhausted just even talking through that list, never mind actually actioning it. So I just wanted to reassure you that it does take time. There's no time limit on you for how long you must take in order to change everything. And some people are on it straight away and get it done in the first few months. And for other people, it takes years. So I'm 9 years married and I've changed nearly everything, but occasionally I still get bits of mail in my maiden name, but it actually kind of makes me laugh. So that's it. So hopefully you found that useful. Does anyone have any questions? I'm just going to have a look on the side of my Facebook Live here. Oh, my family is very good. They're all supporting me, and a few of my brides and Dale. So that's great to have some men. Like I said, men can change their name too. So it doesn't look like anyone has any questions. I hope everyone has found that useful. I'm enjoying the Facebook. I will probably continue to do them. If anyone has any topics they'd like me to discuss, anything related to wedding or ceremony in particular, just let me know and I'd be happy to chat about them. So I think that's it. I'll just basically say sending love and good luck. It's a hard process, but you will get there in the end. Good night. Bye.